Welcome to the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. If it's your first time here, hit the like and subscribe to this channel. Welcome, everybody. How is everybody doing? I thought I'd come in really quickly to talk about something that I had, like one of those thoughts that you have sometimes. I was out at the store and I saw a little girl and the way she was dressed very inappropriately. And it led to this question that I have. Why do parents allow their children to act grown and then complain about it, especially when it comes to fashion? Kids have no money. The parents are the one that has to make the choice how that child dresses. And unfortunately, sometimes these kids they get involved in living that fast life. They dress the little girls so fast, like grown women, put them in little tiny booty shorts and the half shirts and the makeup and braids down, to their tush and you know just too grown too fast, even making them wear makeup. And the boys, acting, treating them like they're the man of the house. They put the kids in these positions and make them seem like they're an adult. And then when the children act like an adult, the parents tell them they're acting fast or they're acting grown and they want to discipline them. But they're the ones that enable them. They're the ones that made them act that way because of the way that they're dressing them. And I also have to say, why do the parents, you know, talk about their own personal private information in front of kids and then want to ask them why they're dipping in grown people conversation? I just want to say to all you parents, caregivers, aunts, uncles, whoever is around these children, have your adult conversations away from children. Don't have your adult conversations in front of your children or young people in your family. If you got something grown to say that grown talk with whoever you need to be grown with. You know, go out, leave the room, go in your car, go in your bedroom, lock the door, but don't have conversations in front of your children and then get upset when they dip in the conversation or ask them about certain things and then get mad when they give an answer that could be true sometimes. I think in this society, a lot of parents aren't parenting. I believe that that's one of the biggest issues right now, are that the parents are not parenting. They're allowing their children to whatever. They're not letting their children actually like be children. They're letting their children be like adults and then they complain about it later. And for me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I really don't understand why parents will talk about grown people stuff, grown people issues, grown people conversation in front of their kids, in front of other, you know, younger people. And then, of course, those kids are going to dip their mouth into that conversation. And those adults have the gall, they have the nerve to get upset. Why are these kids dipping in my conversation? Well, if you were mature enough or responsible enough to go in another room, not ask your children for advice and get upset about, certain things. Or another thing that I really hate to see is when parents are depending on their children to take the role of the parent that's missing. So, in cases of a single parent where the father is missing from the home, or vice versa, the mother is missing from the home, and they have multiple children, and they're treating their child like that child is the father, or they're treating that child like they're the mother. Like, for example, they have lots of children and they have one child, and it's the oldest girl, and they have that child acting like the mother, taking care of all of the other siblings, cooking, cleaning, doing the responsibilities of a mother, and then complaining when that child is wants to be a child. So they want that child to take on the role of a mother, and it's not a mother, it's a child. Or they want that son, I see it all the time, they want the son to be the father. They're trying to make the son act like a boyfriend or baby father, and giving them men roles and men responsibilities, instead of letting the children be a child. Let your children be children. I don't know, maybe my values are old fashioned, but I still think that children should get to run around and be kids and have fun and laugh and not get into adult things too fast. When I was younger, it was like you couldn't do certain things as a girl until you were at least in high school, like 14 years old, before you could even get some mascara, or even wear your first, red nail polish or something like that. Like, but now they're making the little girls. I see them 5 years old in kindergarten, second grade, third grade. They already got nails on. They got braids down to their butt. They got little tiny booty shorts on. And you got the little boys dressing like they're little thugs, and, like they're grown men. And they got the attitude to match. I really don't understand how some parents think that there is no responsibilities for their actions. Hey, Miss Tracy, how are you doing? Welcome. Happy Saturday to you. Welcome to the podcast. If you guys have not already, if you could hit the like, I'd really appreciate it. That's one of the things that like really grinds my gears when I see, not just mothers and fathers. Sometimes it's grandparents, sometimes it's aunts, uncles, cousins. They make the young people within their family, they make them fast. Let's just say it. Let's just be honest, be real. They make the little girls dress fast, you know, having on clothes that's even too much for a grown woman. They have the little girls in little tiny shorts. They have her wearing crop tops, braids all the way down past her kneecaps. You know, what is going on? Where they have little boys, and both of his ears is pierced, and he's 2 years old. His pants is dropping off. It's just like, what is really happening? Or they're putting their kids in a role to be a mother. I always say that, don't let a child be a parent. A child cannot be a parent or play the role of somebody who's missing. Let your children be children. I really feel bad for, in families where one parent is missing, the single parents, and they're trying to put so much responsibility on the oldest child, whether girl or boy, making a girl play the role of a mother, say if it's a single father, or a mother when she has a older son, and they're acting like that older son is the boyfriend, getting him involved in so many things that he should not get involved in. Like, what is really happening? I do understand about, when you're a single parent, you got to do what you got to do. And of course, everybody has to step up in helping and chores. But it's certain things like it doesn't make any sense. Why are they why are certain parents making their children act like it's their boyfriend or their girlfriend? You know, like I've seen a lot, especially when it comes to the sons, and it's a single parent, and the young boy like has a he the mother just has like a hold on the son, like don't want him to have a girlfriend. He can't go out anywhere. It's like, that's not your boyfriend. That's your son. Real talk. We have a problem with my granddaughter taking from the aunties, and their stuff is too old for her. Yeah, but you know what? I honestly have to say, Miss Tracy, that that all has to deal with whoever is adulting. Um, it's up to the whoever is the parent, the auntie, the grandparents, the whoever, allowing the children to be able to wear that. Even if they try to put it on, tell them take it off. And letting them you know go out by themselves. It's certain things that's like a danger issue. It's not even a thing where you're just being overbearing or being like they call a helicopter parent. Why do I see all the time in the grocery store and the malls these kids alone? They're by themselves, shopping in the store, buying groceries. And even if the parent is outside, or grandparents, aunties, and uncles, they say they want to give the children freedom to have their own life. They don't want to be under their thumb. But why do you have a 6 or a 7-year old shopping in the mall by themselves? Even if they are with a group of friends, in a moment a child could be abducted. At any moment anything could happen to that child, and then the parents want to fall apart. They want to go to pieces when these children get missing or when things happen to them. It's like one of those things I feel doesn't make any sense. Why do these parents act like they have no responsibilities when they do? I think that's one of the issues that I believe that I have the most is they a lot of parents don't feel that they're parents, or they don't feel like it's their responsibility to raise their own kids. They put their responsibility off on other people in the family, the aunts, the grandmas, the grandpas, the cousins, the whatever. They put their own responsibility. And I do think sometimes it's because maybe they weren't ready to be a parent. They don't know how to be a parent. Or it could be one just allowing them to keep saying, it's okay, it's okay. So that parent, that mother or that father never has to be a parent because somebody is overtaking or controlling how that child is raised. So the other one just says, well, you're doing it, so I don't have to do it. Yeah, I know that happens a lot too. You can't stop when children try to sneak around behind your back, but I mean like in your face. And oh, this is a big issue. Why is it that, parents don't, check on what's going on with their children, their phone. These they have your small children, and they're on Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media, and they got on fast outfits showing their stomach and their rear end, and boys acting so grown. And there is predators on all social media, and they're looking for easy prey, like our children that haven't been talked to, that haven't been, had those conversations like it's not safe. Don't trust everybody who is on social media. And because a lot of times the parents are not giving our children the time that they need because they're so busy with their life. They're so busy working and taking care of responsibilities that they just let their children be raised by social media. They let their children be raised by TV and tablets instead of like spending quality time with them, instead of taking away their phones at nighttime. I was just in a live stream, Goddess D of Love, another awesome content creator, and she was talking about that how it was either her or somebody in the stream saying that at nighttime the children are scrolling on their phones all night. So of course in the morning when it's time for them to go to school, they're exhausted. They can't function in school. They're behind in their grades. And let's be honest, in urban communities, it's our children are already behind the eight ball when it comes to, certain things. We don't always have all of the things that other richer communities have, like the books, resources. So we definitely have to buckle down on our children in urban communities and be like on them. Have you done your homework? Let me see it. What are you doing? What's going on in school? Parents have to learn to parent and not try to be their children's friend. I really don't like it. I really don't like it. Hey, thank you so much, Miss Tracy. Yeah, I agree. Hey, Miss Heather, how are you doing? Welcome. That's one thing that I see a lot, that parents aren't parenting their children. And it makes me so sad to see that children are going to school. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Had a Somebody was at the door. I had to answer it. But yeah, it's so important for us to think about our children, our kiddos, because our children are so important. They really are. I was just thinking about how our children aren't getting the time. Like, I remember back in the day, and it brings tears to my eyes because there's so many children, they're like left alone. They don't have time. Nobody's taking the time to, care for them and talk to them and support them and listen to them and love them. And then they go out in the school system and, they're tired, they're hungry sometimes. They don't have that support and love at home. And when they go to school, they're being bullied. It's just a lot that our children go through. So as parents, as even supportive relatives, aunts and uncles and grandparents and cousins and whoever, even in the community, being supportive of our children, to let them know that they're loved and cared about. It takes more than just a mother, a father, and immediate family to raise children. It takes a community, because there's always something that children can learn from others in the community. And it makes me very sad to know that the home environment of some of our dear, sweet little children is not a safe one. Even, I've seen the poor conditions when I used to be in social work, and I would see the poor conditions that the children were living in. Um, Unclean, the place was dirty. They don't have food to eat, um, don't have a bed to sleep in, no clean clothes, you know, basically abandoned. They're in a house that is basically a home that should be condemned. And for those reasons, those children, they run away from home and they live life as a runaway, you know, or they go out and go into the streets where they can find love from a place that there actually is not love. Like they get into gangs or they hang out with the wrong crowd and into people, and they think that, because they are showing them, that time and the attention that they want, they feel that these people love them, and these people don't care about them, don't care nothing about them. They're opportunists. They're only giving them that time because probably they're the one, running the deals. They're doing certain things that they want, or they're just having fun, or using up their money, or they get involved in crimes together. And I feel like that's so high of a price to pay. Our children are paying such a high price because of lack of a healthy home environment. They're not getting love at home. And I don't know what it really will take for children to have a nice home environment, but I do think that it's important for our children to have a nice home environment. And I do think that a lot of times having some places for parents to be able to say, I need some help. I need some groceries. I need like a break to, be away from my children for an hour because I just worked an 8-hour shift and I'm stressed out, or I just need someone to talk to. Parents need support as well, and because a lot of parents, either if they have, significant other in the home, or the ones that don't, every single parent needs some support. Every single parent needs support. And I really feel so badly for the the single parents that are trying to balance it all on their own. Thank you so much, too. I really feel sad for the parents that are trying to balance it on their own. The single fathers, the single mothers, the grandmas, the grandpas, the aunts, the uncles, whoever's raising our sweet, dear children. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of responsibility to take care of children and to give them the things that they need. And I do think a lot of times parents don't aren't in a good space. Maybe if they came from a bad home environment, their upbringing wasn't good, or they got out of a bad relationship, especially if it's a DV situation. They got out of a abusive relationship, or it was just a toxic relationship, mentally toxic, verbally toxic, or you just feel like you just couldn't be yourself and be happy in that relationship. Yeah, yeah, and I get that, Miss Tracy. We really do need support, but the thing about it is that um, I can say being in that role of being a support in caregiving, we have to ask for it. I think that ultimately, a lot of times we feel that we are the only option if we don't ask for help, as parents, whatever parent you are. You could be a parent by birth or by heart. You're in the role taking care of children. You need to be okay mentally too. And sometimes because the parents are not okay mentally, it trickles down to our sweet children, and the children get affected because if they see their mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, uncle, cousin, whoever is raising them, not in a good space mentally and sad all the time, that makes the children feel that way. They feel sad as well. They feel upset. They feel discouraged. Or if they see a lot of anger, they feel that that's what a home environment looks like. So we do have to show children what is healthy relationships. And it does mean sometimes as parents, reaching out and saying, I'm not coping with this thing called life very well. I need some help. I need to see a counselor, a therapist. I need to talk to somebody about what I'm dealing with because sometimes our children have some issues like they could have some ADHD, they could be autistic, they have some sort of special needs or disabilities, or it's just tough, the day-to-day struggle of being a parent, and you just need some support. Just hearing it's going to be okay, or somebody giving you a break for an hour so you can just breathe. Because sometimes you just feel like you could just scream and, like, oh my God, like, I just want to be by myself. Just leave me alone. And we don't want to give that message to the kids that they're a burden. And it can feel that way sometimes as a parent, overwhelming that it's so much of a burden, especially shout out to all the single parents that are making it happen. Is very much a big responsibility trying to take care of children, and you're trying your best to do it, but you're only one person, and it does mean having some support. Asking for some help, reaching out, and ask until you get the resources that you need. Don't be ashamed to say, I need some help with food. I need some support with paying a light bill, a water bill, rent. There are agencies out there that provide those services for us, but we got to be humble enough to say, I need to talk to somebody. I need some help with food. I need help mentally. I need a break from, at least one day a week so I can take care of me. If we don't fill up our cup as parents, then the children feel those effects. The children get affected when the parents or whoever is raising them is not doing okay. And we don't want the children to go outside to look for love because their own peers, peers, gangs, you know, going out and looking for love really young because you don't find it at home. That's not the solution. And I see it all the time, working in social work. I see it happens to the kids. If they don't get that love at home, they're going to look for that love on the outside. And it just makes a bad situation worse. Then you start seeing that young child now become a parent themselves, become a teen mom or a preteen mom, even worse. So it's like problems become bigger and they grow bigger and bigger, and it snowballs into another generation of more brokenness. So I do think that, having conversations like this is so important. Let me put this link in here. I don't know if anybody has anything that they would like to add to this conversation, but I do think that it's so important for not only parents, caregivers, anybody who takes care of children, even those who work in those fields, if that's your work and you take care of children, knowing your limits, knowing when you need breaks, knowing when to reach out, ask for help and say, I'm not okay right now. And also, having those communication lines open with children to let them know, as a mom, as a dad, as an aunt, as a grandmother, I'm human too. I need a break. I need my own personal time. And it's not that I don't love you, but I have to take care of me so that I can take care of you better. It's important to have those conversations with children and to not let them think that you don't want to be with them, but you need to have your own time. When mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, whoever is feeling good mentally, physically, and all of it, when you are feeling good, then your children will feel good. And I do think that that's important for them to see that, you know, you taking care of yourself, so them knowing that it's okay for me to take care of myself too. Um, yeah, and also having those important conversations with children, that I'm doing the best that I can. Ask your children, have conversation with them, communicate with them, not just on the phone. Have those times where you spend one-on-one quality time with each child. Every child needs their own time with their parent, whether boy or girl. Those are the things that children remember when they get older, when they get grown. I remember when I went here or there with mom, dad, grandma, auntie, uncle. They remember those things, and those are the things that help children to be stable. I see all the time now that the TVs, social media is raising our children instead of actual parents. Instead of having actual conversations, it's four people in a room and everybody's on their phone scrolling. Nobody's talking to each other. Or at the dinner table, everybody's on their phone and you just hear the forks and the plates, and everybody's on their phone or people are talking. You got to go to back to some old fashioned values where there's no phones when it's dinner time. Have conversations. How was your day? Communicate, talk, spend one on one time. You know, love your children. I think it's really important, that I think that's one thing that I had to learn. I didn't grow up having these values about, communication and asking questions, because that's just not what I grew up. I grew up in a generation where children were seen and not heard. You didn't ask kids how they were doing. The only thing that mattered was making sure that kids had a roof over their head and food to eat. And we thought that was being a good parent. And it's more to parenting than just providing what they need, you know, to just live and have a place to live. You have to also think about, what is that child going through? How are they mentally? Are they being bullied at school? Do they feel loved? Do they feel supported? Do they feel encouraged? Do they feel that they can talk to you about anything? I think that's some of the biggest problems going on in society. There's so many unasked questions. We don't ask questions, but you expect children to know things. We expect children to just one day be 18 and grown and then push them out the nest and say, fly, be happy and be loved. And if you weren't giving that to them, how can they feel that way? So, just some thoughts that I had, and I wanted to share it with you. I don't know how everybody grew up, but I really do feel for the children these days and what they're going through, and the ones that now are acting so grown and living a fast life and going through so much and not feeling comfortable, not feeling loved, not feeling like they can talk about certain things, and they bottle in everything that they are going through. I didn't know until I got to be, older, that, children have traumas. Children go through things, but as adults, we're just thinking about our problems and our trying to provide, that we don't think about what our children are going through. And I do think that that's the reason sometimes for children acting up. Um, we see them in and out of prison system. I've seen a lot through my eyes that I should not have seen at my age. The sadness and the pain and the trauma that these children are dealing with, all because adults didn't have enough courage to reach out and say, I need some help. I need some support. I need to talk to somebody. But they bottle up all of their pain, anxiety, stress, and then they take it out on the children, yelling at them, even sometimes putting their hands on them, abusing them. And they call that discipline, where they're just upset because of their life and they need some coping skills. Everybody needs some coping skills. I can say for myself, I wasn't raised to have those coping skills to learn how to be patient, to ask for the things that I wanted and needed. I didn't have that growing up. I definitely didn't have that, but I can't use that as an excuse to say that's a good enough reason, that's a good enough excuse to not do those things that make me feel uncomfortable. Sometimes there are some situations that make me uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable talking to my nieces and my nephews about good touches and bad touches, and talking up for yourself. And are you bullied? How do you feel about yourself? What is your self esteem? As adults, as parents, we're the ones that has to have those conversations, because if they don't trust and believe, some of their peers are going to have those conversations with them, and it's not going to be in a good way. So if you don't set up your children for the future, this life is going to beat them up and mess them up. And we don't want our children to grow up too fast. And we don't want them to feel unloved in this society. We want them to feel comfortable and loved and special and everything that they are. But it does mean that as adults, we got to step up to the plate. We got to be grown. We got to ask for help. We got to take our breaks too. We have to fill up our cup. We have to ask for help. You know, got to take care of ourselves, parents. To all you parents, all you caregivers, all you people who are loving these children, our babies, remember to take care of yourself, your personal care, your mental health. You're taking your vacation. Even if it's just 1 day, 2 days, you got to do some things for you. Fill up your cup, parents. And because if you don't fill up your cup, you're going to wind up making these children sad, uncomfortable, and not feel loved. If you don't show up in this world happy and joyful, the same thing goes off on these children. And we don't want these children to grow up too fast. We want them to be able to enjoy their childhood. Um, Before you know it, these children are born, and the next thing they're 18 years old. We should give them 18 years to get to enjoy their life, to skip, to laugh, to have some fun, but also teaching them to be responsible. I think that's a thing too that a lot of parents don't do. They think because they're children, they can't do chores and they can't pick up after themselves. We have to stop spoiling, enabling, and coddling children. And then one day you pull the rug and say, I'm not doing that anymore. We don't help our children when we do things like that. We have to do, set a standard, start from their a small child, learn to put their comforter back on their bed, pick up their toys, you know, hang up their clothes, fold their clothes, age appropriate tasks, age appropriate chores. Let children take care of themselves, because if they don't take care of themselves, you better believe there's going to be some other adults who don't have the best motives, or other children who will get them involved in a life of crime and drugs and all kinds of other issues, or introduce them to hard substances that are dangerous to cope with this life. We got to teach our kids coping skills with life, where they're going to go to other things to learn how to cope with this life. I definitely wanted to have this conversation. I wanted to have this podcast to, number one, reach out to, maybe it's a child listening to this and they feel overwhelmed at home. If you don't get the support that you need as a child at home, seek it from a counselor. There's lots of things out there to help you. And to all the parents, caregivers, and children support, take care of yourself. Reach out for help. Ask. I know that it's hard to be an adult, it's overwhelming. And yes, sometimes we get overwhelmed and stressed out by the kids, but we got to ask for help. We got to ask for questions, and we got to have those hard conversations and learn to communicate. I know it's not the easiest thing. It's one of the hardest things in this life to be a parent, to be a caregiver, to take care of children, but it's well worth it when we see that these children grow up and they're well balanced, they're responsible, they're mature, and they know how to handle this thing called life. So that's what I came on here to say. Just wanted to come on and do a quick podcast, give some support, give some encouragement, and to say what I had on my mind. To all you parents and caregivers, let your children be children. Don't let them grow up too fast. There's plenty of time for your little girls to wear makeup and crop tops and short shorts and dresses and long hair and all this jewelry, and the same thing for boys, these big necklaces and jackets and baggy pants and baseball caps and all of these things. Don't let your children grow up too fast. Let them be a child. Let them have some fun, but also communicate with them, talk to them, love them. Let them feel your support. Let them feel that they matter, because they do. I'm Marlene. I'm the content creator of The Marlene Saunders Show, where I podcast about real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. If it's your first time here, hit the like, subscribe to this channel. Got a giveaway coming when I hit that 800 subscriber mark. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and those in the replay. Thank you so much for the replay. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'll see you on the next Marlene Saunders Show.